Good morning, everybody. Jambo. Jambo vote. Buenos dias. Guten Tag. Guten Tag. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum.
I've been given this opportunity to welcome you all to this space. It's a beautiful space and we are happy to be hosting this People's Assembly, or we call it off-site event. Meaning we have on-site events going on right now. So this is the People's Assembly ahead of the Civil Society Conference taking place in Nairobi. We are happy to host the People's Assembly because we are collecting the people's voices towards Summit for the Future. This is very important because mostly local people are left behind when important discussions are taking place. So we are happy to have this conversation here today. I would also like to thank everyone who have been able to attend this People's Assembly, and welcome back to Kenya. As you go back to your countries, just remember that we are here and we are ready to collaborate with you. Thank you.
I'm happy we are here with quite a big group of people. We want to get your demands to the Kenyan government, that's the first, but also to the international community. That means the United Nations, but governments around the world. And also to civil society. So please tell us what you want from us. We are here at the People's Assembly in Kibera. We are meeting with the local communities to listen to their voices, to their perspectives. Because we are going to the Civil Society Conference of the United Nations, where we will discuss global solutions for global problems. And the communities affected by those problems, like climate change, poverty, inequalities, they need to be part of the process. So here we are listening to young people, to girls, to women, to men, to older persons, to women with disabilities. What actually are their problems? What do they need from the government of Kenya, from the international community? What change do they want?
My name is Jenny Kauppila. I come from Finland. I work for an organization called UNA Finland, and we partner with SDGs Kenya Forum and Polycom Development here in Kenya. I was today attending the People's Assembly in Kibera, and we were hearing the voices of the people, how they have experienced the floods, what do they think have to do with the housing, what are the gender problems in the community, and how do we alleviate poverty here and reducing inequalities. So we've heard a lot of important messages. People were relating all the topical issues, how they interlink, and we were getting recommendations right from the people here. One of the key topics in that Summit of the Future is the youth and the rights of the future generations. And I think what we have heard and witnessed here today, it's all about the future generations. Like, how do we provide them a life that is socially, economically, and environmentally sustainable?
I'm privileged today to be here in Kibera, Nairobi, to interact with the grassroots people, the Kenyans, the really Kenyans people, I can say, here in Kibera. And I'm very happy. We want to hear their voices, because the conference which has brought us here in Kenya is the United Nations Civil Society Conference of the Summit of the Future. You know, we want to see in regarding the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, how do we want to go about? We want to collect the voices of different groups from the civil society. At the end, we'll come up with a document which will be taken to the Summit of the Future in September at New York at the meeting of the high-level political forum or head of states, where we are going now to get the final document for the future on the implementation of Sustainable Development Goals for SDGs.
We're here to find answers, and we also want that we simplify the talk on climate justice, because if you ask me, it is so complex. It is extremely complex for that woman at grassroots level to understand. It's actually complex for me, and I'm educated. Now imagine that woman who's being told she's living on riparian land. Imagine her trying to understand matters climate justice. We want to simplify it. We want to bring it at the grassroots level so that common mwananchi will understand what is climate justice, what is climate crisis. We want policies put in place for response to climate crisis. We want change, and we want it now.
The reason why we have to do the People's Assembly is to make sure that we collect voices of people who are most likely to be left behind in these conversations. So groups of people like people with disability, indigenous people, the women, the children, the youth, the elderly, and all those people whose voices are usually not heard. In the urban settings, for example, you have informal settlements, and these are people whose issues are very unique. Their environments are unique. And in the context of climate change, it's of course important. We have seen that in Kenya, there have been a lot of news articles around floods and how these floods are affecting these categories of people. We need to take the collective voice of these people. What are the issues that affect them, and how governments are going to take into consideration their priorities to ensure that their needs are not left behind. So the conference is basically organized to ensure that civil society organizations have a platform where they are going to discuss the pertinent issues around financing for sustainable development and ensuring that that financing is sustainable.
So we are very happy to have this exchange, and it's very lively, full of energy, but we are also aware of the problems like the rain and the floods. I just talked to a woman who lost her house. And these are the problems. We need concrete solutions. We need better education, of course, social protection and health systems. We got this perspectives already from here, and we want to listen more what the people really want from us or from the United Nations and the government. What do we want? When do we want it? When do we want it?
In a special way, I want to thank SDG Kenya Forum and Global Call to Action Against Poverty, the Nepal team, India team, Tanzania team, just everybody, including the director, Igo, who are with us here today. We don't take it for granted. Thank you so much. And as you go back home, we wish you the best.
What do we want?